Hello, everyone. Welcome to South Asians in Sports. My name is Ashmere Prasad, and I have been working with Neha for the past 5 months, I want to say. I've been working as her social media lead, and now I also am doing, these kind of interviews because I'm an aspiring sports journalist. So today we have an awesome guest joining us, and I am so excited. This has been groundbreaking news for the South Asian community. Before we move on to that, I'm going to bring on my co-host, who is Vik. He's been a part of the SAIS network for a long time. Vik, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here tonight, especially because I'm a huge Chicago sports fan, as you can see by my attire, and I'm a huge proponent of this organization. I actually met Neha 3 or 4 years ago. We did an event together in Chicago, which was amazing. It's truly great to see how much the organization has grown just over the short time span. And it's a testament to just the hard work you, Neha, and all the volunteers have put in. And it's great to see. And being on today with Sean is a full circle moment for me. So I really can't wait to get this going. As for the work I do, I've been working in sports now for 4 years. It's been a lot of fun. I write about Chicago sports, basketball, gambling. I've done it all for several different websites. I currently work for radio.com and BetQL. So it's been really fun kind of having a career in being a South Asian in sports. So let's jump into it. I'm excited to have our guest on today.
Cool. Okay, well, if you haven't guessed already, our guest is going to be the newly signed defensive coordinator with the Chicago Bears, Sean Desai. Thank you for coming, Sean. We appreciate you.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to do this.
Yes, and also congratulations. I'm sure you have been receiving that all around, but from us here at SAIS, congrats.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's kick it off with, your journey as a defensive coach and as a coach in general. I mean, I don't know if anyone's aware, but Sean also has his doctorate. So the man is really breaking the Indian norms here. And I'm wondering, how did you decide to choose, to get your doctorate and then also still work in sports and pursue this career?
Yeah, for me, it was like most people, obviously very education focused. I went to Boston University. I played some high school football at my high school back in Connecticut, Shelton High School. Went to Boston University to go, just go to school, and I was pre-med there, and then coached some freshman football back at my high school. Would drive down back on weekends and things like that to help out with that team. And that kind of started a little bug in me in terms of my interest in coaching and really teaching. Really fascinated by the whole teaching thing. And then so I graduated Boston University in 3 years and kind of asked my parents if I could use that fourth year to go get my master's in education. And thankfully they were real supportive of that. And so I went to Teachers College, Columbia, to get my master's there and kind of worked there, and then did a project there actually where I shadowed the football program for a little bit for one of my master's classes. And then from there I went to go on and get my doctorate in education at Temple. And ironically, one of the coaches that was hired there was a guy I met at Columbia, and I kind of asked if I could help volunteer with that team there while I was getting my doctorate. And obviously they were really gracious for me. That was Mike Saravo, and he was on Al Golden's staff. Al Golden was just hired as the head coach there. And so I just started working there kind of really as a side gig for me while I was at Temple getting my doctorate in education. And then, lo and behold, I kind of just kept working there and had some opportunities for growth. And to Al's credit, he promoted me. And then, here we are almost 10 years later or more. As sitting here in Chicago and fortunate enough to have this role.
I love it, man. You actually touched on something that I think is important to a lot of us South Asians, and it's your parents' support, right? Especially when it comes to out of the norm kind of jobs and careers. And this is very, very out of the norm, right, for a typical South Asian person. At what point did you gain your parents' support or trust? What was the moment where they were like, okay, this is kind of a real career path, and let's stop giving them a hard time for not becoming a doctor?
That's a great question. And to be honest, they've been supportive for me and my brother really all our lives. Even when growing up, they put us in all the sports and drove us everywhere, and we did all that. And then obviously a big thing for them has been to get some education, because that's a way from their belief, and I believe it also, for upward mobility. And so they kind of knew the track that we were on and what I want to go for. And then that year that I asked to see if I can use that fourth year to go to Columbia, they were real supportive there. And they kind of knew that I think he's interested in education, but there's still a chance he can be pre-med. But then after that is where I really caught the bug, and I think I kind of sold him on the idea that I was going to get my doctorate in education and try to be a professor and an administrator in higher ed. And again, they didn't really balk at those ideas. They were just supportive the whole time, and I think they kind of appreciated the fact that I was still continuing my education. And then while at Temple, they knew that I was being a graduate assistant and was volunteering initially with the football team. And like I said, they're huge sports fans, and for them to have the ability to come to some of those games, I think they caught a little bit of a bug, and I think they saw my passion for it as well. And so that became a real fun time for all of us. And then, in 2008, I graduated at Temple and had a job opportunity at George Washington University to be a professor there. And I think that was a time where I think they and we all kind of realized, well, this might be real, because I met with the head coach at the time, Al Golden, at Temple, and I told him I had this job opportunity and kind of wanted his counsel and his advice. And he just said, if you can wait out 6 months, if there's some change here on the staff, I'll try to get you promoted. And so, we did that. We took a shot. We continued to be a GA for another 6 months, and to his credit, to Al's credit, he did promote me. And now all of a sudden I'm 27 and I'm a special teams coordinator and outside linebacker coach at Temple University, which to me was a big deal. And I think my parents saw that, and I think they were proud of that. And I think at that point they kind of realized, well, that this could be real, and they've been supportive ever since.
That's awesome. I love it. One more follow-up. Sorry, Ashmere. So you're married. You have kids, right?
Yeah.
So your wife. Now we got your parents' perspective. Was it a hard sell to your wife? I can ask you this because I'm married. I have kids, right?
Yeah.
And working in sports again is a kind of out of the box career. So how was your wife fully on board? Has it taken a while to get her on, or how did that all go down?
No, my wife, from my perspective, is the most amazing person I've been around, and without her, I for sure I would not be able to do any of this. We met back when I was at Teachers College at Columbia, and she was a student at Temple at that time. And so through that whole journey, she was there at Temple, and then she went to NYU, and I was at Temple. But she was there where I was volunteering and being a GA at Temple while I was still getting my doctorate. So she kind of has been on this ride with me from a firsthand perspective ever since then. And through all the ups and downs of the coaching profession and the dynamic and volatile nature of the profession, she's kind of been the cornerstone and the rock for me. And then, before we got to Chicago, that was her fifth city in 5 years that she lived in. So you just think about the sacrifices that she had to and continues to go through and put up with, just for me to be able to pursue a career that I love, obviously, and I think she loves it too, being a part of it and being the rock that she is for me. And then with the kids, we're just so lucky we got 3 great kids, 2 boys and a daughter, that they're extremely supportive and they get it. And obviously they're like you, Vic, they're born and bred here in Chicago, which is pretty cool because now that they've got a team that they'll be able to keep with for life.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I need to ask, and I don't hope the Bears teams come for me here, but were they your favorite team growing up, or who was your favorite NFL team when you were growing up?
Yeah, we grew up in Connecticut. I got 2 older cousins, and obviously my brother and a couple of younger cousins, and we're really close. Our families were really close. So the way it went was, our family, my cousins and me and my brother, split. So one side of it was Yankees, Giants, and Knicks. And the other side of it was Mets, the Bulls, and the 49ers. So I was Bulls, 49ers, and my brother was on the Yankees, Giants, Knicks. And so growing up, that's what it was for me.
Oh, 49ers. Okay.
Yeah.
That's sweet, man. This is a question both Ashmere and I wanted to really ask you is just, how does it feel to really, what does it mean to you to be the first South Asian coach in the NFL? Is that something that's kind of hit you yet, or, we'll open it up to you for your answer.
Yeah. Well, I think there's been a couple other coaches in the NFL, but as the first coordinator, it's one of those things you really don't reflect on, as you're going through the process and you're trying to make your way and find your own path in the career. But Obviously, it's come up a lot more since I've gotten the job, and I've been asked that question a little bit. And it's humbling is probably the first thing that comes to mind. Obviously, I take it with a lot of pride and a humility at the same time in terms of I understand the impact it can have for other people, and I'll embrace that, and hopefully it helps other people. But at the end of the day, I still got a job to do, and I got to do it successfully for it to really mean something from my perspective. You know what I mean? I got to be a really good defensive coordinator here for the Chicago Bears with a proud history, and that's the intent, right? I mean, to prove that I got this job and I've earned this job, the results matter. And Vic, you know better than anybody in terms of the city of Chicago that's an important part of this deal. You know, so I think the progress of it is still important to me. I think that the notions and all that might be more important maybe for others, which is okay, and I think that's okay. But for me, it's still about being the best coordinator I can be here for the Bears.
Yeah. You mentioned it, man. There's a passionate fan base here in Chicago, right? I've been a Bears fan since the '86 Super Bowl team, so I live and die by the Bears. My week and all the dads' week at the school, like when we go to school to drop off our kids, if the Bears won, everyone is hyped. It could be 6 degrees outside with 15 inches of snow, and we'll be hyped. If the Bears lost, then everybody's just walking with their heads down, their hoodie on, and that's how it is, right? And so you know that. I want to ask you a little bit in regards to the Bears and the defense. Yesterday in the presser, you mentioned Vic Fangio, how he was kind of a mentor to you. Can you briefly explain what your defensive style is going to be and, you know, how it's similar to Fangio's, how it's a little different, maybe schematically than Pagano's?
Yeah, you know, I think the first thing that, you know, we're going to have a clear identity, and I've talked about in the presser, and it's going to be something that's palpable. It's going to be something that's palpable to the fans. It's going to be something that's palpable to Coach Nagy, to our players, to the coaches, to the ownership, management. They're going to feel us. And what does that mean? We're going to be physical. We're going to be tough, relentless, swarming to the ball, disciplined. I think all those things are palpable. So I think things will start there for us. And those are things that we're really going to take pride in. And I think that's really something the city of Chicago can take pride in as a group. Because you're right, this is a very proud city, as it should be. And there's a lot of history here. And I said it in my press conference, you know, we're not in the business of looking backwards. But we're going to embrace that history, and we're going to create our own history as we move forward. And I think that's the mentality we want to take. And in terms of schematics and everything, don't want to go into that too much. But, you know, I've been blessed to be around some really good coaches that I really trust. And Vic is obviously a big mentor for me, as you mentioned, in the NFL, and I've been around him the longest. So there's going to be a lot of influence from him. But, you know, there's a lot of good things that we did with Coach Chuck and Coach Mel, and even things I've done at Temple that are going to be valuable, I think, additions to what we're going to do. And so, you know, we're gonna create a brand of football that I think everybody's going to be proud of. All
right, that's great. Don't give away too much. I don't want our opponents knowing, you know, everything about the squad. Yeah. But I love it. I love that, man. I'll hit you with one more follow-up. So obviously, like, sacks and turnovers have been down for the squad since the amazing run we had a couple of years ago, right? And Eddie Jackson's production is kind of down. Robert Quinn didn't make as big of an impact as people wanted him to. You know, are there some things that you're also going to work on when it comes to trying to create some turnovers or trying to, you know, flip the game a little bit on that side of the ball?
Yeah, for sure. You know, we're going to have some unique ways to emphasize some of those things that you said, pressure on the quarterback with various different types of rushes, from 3-man rush, 4-man rush, 5-man rush, 6-man rush, 7-man rush. So we'll do those things, and we'll try to pressure them mentally as well. I think that's really important, and we'll be physical in our brand of football to create some takeaways as well. And I think we'll emphasize that a lot in different ways, and we're really going to try to let our players shine, you know, let their talent shine through our scheme and through our system. And I think they'll really buy into that, and they're going to have a lot of fun doing it. And then I think we've got a lot of talent here at Chicago, and I think the biggest job on our end is to make sure those guys are placed in positions that they can help impact the game in a positive way.
I love it. All right, I'll stop drilling you with football questions. I'll let Ashmere jump back in here.
Going back to, how you transition from your past to here, what's something that you would tell your younger self, knowing where you are now and knowing the things that you know within the industry and also going to school for so long? What is something that you could reflect on?
Ooh. So one thing I would tell my younger self is to obviously follow your passions, but through that process, make sure you're around good people that support you, and that'll help you endure through and persevere through whatever the struggles that you have, and then just keep your head down and work. Just work and make sure you're around, like I said, the good people that will help you.
Now, is that advice true to somebody that's trying to work, in the same industry as you, working to be a coach, somebody that wants to, be on the other side of sports? I feel like everyone's always visualizing being the social media or on camera or something. But for somebody that wants to do what you've done, how can you help them, or what's kind of a piece of advice you could give them?
Yeah. No. Yeah. I do think that's a good place to start. I do think that's a good place to start because hard work, nobody can take that away from you, right? And then the ability to be around good people, that's probably a little bit more elusive. And then that's just a matter of fit and people that you trust, and that you'd be willing to be vulnerable with, and that you feel like has the best interest for you as a person and for you as a professional. So I think that's a great place to start. And then the support network is really critical. Like I said before, for me to have the parents and the brother and the cousins I have and my friends, and my wife and my kids, none of this would have been possible without any of that. Because not just because I'm Indian is this a hard job to get, right? There's only 32 of these jobs in the world, and it's not like there's a huge turnover in terms of the profession. There's a lot of elite coaches that are very well deserving to be in the same job I'm in, and so a lot of it is being at the right place at the right time, and proving the people around you that you've earned this opportunity, and that takes resilience and perseverance and support.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know having good people in your corner is very helpful, especially when, for me, front facing camera, like I need somebody to tell me I'm having a bad hair day or whatever the case may be. You need people to be honest and brutal. And I feel like the industry is one and the same, right?
That's absolutely right. And you got to be willing to hear that honesty and grow from that. I think that's the other important thing. I think it's easy to maybe dismiss some constructive criticism. And it's easy to take the easy way out, but you got to be willing to endure through it, whether it's what you want to hear or don't want to hear. And so I think that's one thing that I've learned. That's one thing I try to pass on to people that ask me for my advice is, you got to be honest. There's a lot of people that have asked me, the similar question that you guys asked me, how can I coach? Or, I really want to access the NFL, or I want to do this. And I mean, I start with, well, have you coached? like you can't just expect an NFL team to give you a job because of you're a smart person and all that stuff. Like, you got to prove it, and you got to earn your keep somewhere. And you might have to earn it a little bit harder, and you might have to take a path that's a little bit different than others. And then you got to be willing to put up with that. And that's where the support system and the perseverance and resilience come in.
No, that's great advice, man. I think nowadays with social media and stuff, people only see the end result, right? A lot of times you don't see the path and how much hard work and just all the tough times that you've been through, right? And that's everybody. Everybody deals with crazy stuff on their own, and no one sees that. Everyone just sees the end result. So I think that's terrific advice as well.
Okay, cool. I think we've kind of run through the things that we had. I don't know if you had anything else that you your last dying words that you wanted to let SAIS know about.
Oh, I hope these aren't the last time words. I hope we'll do another one of these after another moment that we have, another milestone.
Yeah, definitely. When you win the North, the championship.
Exactly.
We'll bring you back on here. Okay, well, thank you, Sean, and thank you, Vic, for being here. This was awesome. If you need inspiring words, watch this YouTube video over and over again. I think Sean's journey has really showed how hard work can carry you to what you want to do. And again, congratulations. We're so excited for the Bears season. I know Vic's like thrilled. And everyone, please be sure to join the network, be a part of this movement. And, we're looking forward to everything to come for Sean and the rest of the SAIS network. Thanks so much.
Thanks again, Sean.
Thank you.